Hey, what's up everyone? This is Ben Zinn for Epic Guitar Instruction. Welcome to today's lesson. We're going to take a look at a really great Elton John tune, Your Song. Not my song, Your Song. It's a really nice sounding tune and it's a great acoustic tune. We're going to kind of combine some of the piano approaches and the guitar together in one for a nice little piece that you can play on your own. As you can see, we're capoed up here at the 3rd fret. The song is in the key of E flat, but by capoing at the 3rd fret, I'm able to play a lot of my nice open position chords using a C shape and some other familiar chord shapes to navigate through this tune. So let's start with the intro and we'll just dive right in and check it out. We're going to be dealing with 3 chord shapes on the intro: C major, F with a C in the bass. We're not really grabbing this note just yet. And then we're going to play a G chord with a C in the bass. This is kind of a nice sound. And we're going to be doing some moving around within those open strings. So starting back at the C chord, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck strings 5 and 4 together. Then I'm going to jump up to string 4, 3, back to string 5, and then 1, and then 2. So we're creating this sort of pattern. Okay, so we're going to play that pattern once on the C chord. Now we'll move to the F over C. We're going to strike strings 5 and 2 together and then do some picking within the chord. Now I like to use my thumb on strings 5 and 4 most of the time. If you prefer to play that same pattern like this with 4 fingers, that's certainly viable too. I always say there's more than one way to do something on the guitar most of the time, so do what's most comfortable for you. Now we're going to jump to that G over C, but I want to start here with my index finger fretting the second fret of the 3rd string, and I'm going to pluck these 2 notes together and hammer onto the 4th fret. Okay, so pluck and hammer, and then back to the open string. And now I'm going to grab the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Return to the lowest note, and then play strings 2 and 3 open. Here's that whole measure. That can be a little tricky at first. Just stay with it and you'll get there. If you want to substitute in something simpler, you can. That'll work, but this just gives us some nice melody within the chord. And then we're back to the F chord, played the same way as the first time. Okay, so that takes us all the way through the intro. Here it is when you piece it all together. And then we're into the song. We're into the first verse. So I always find when I'm learning a new tune, it's helpful to just understand the chord progression before you get into all the specifics of the finger picking or the little licks and riffs that connect it. So let's do that now for the verse. Let's just take a trip through all the chords, string them together into a progression, and then we'll go back through and take a look at the finger picking patterns. So our verse is going to start now with a C chord. Same old C here. Now we're going to go to an F like we played before, but this time we're going to play F major 7 or leave the 1st string open. Now we're going to go to a G over B chord. So G over B just means I'm not playing G in the root, even though this isn't really a G, we just think about it as G from the capo. there's our G over B, to E minor, to A minor, C over G. This is a nice chord to take a look at here. Instead of playing the C chord like this with our ring finger on string 5, we're going to bring it up here to string 6 to put a G note in the bass. Okay, now things get a little funky but interesting. We have a D9 over F sharp. Nice sounding chord with the capo on, to be sure. And this is played with your middle finger at the 2nd fret of the 6th string, and then we're holding down the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Now we're going to an F major 7, but we're going to use our thumb this time around, and here's why. I want to be able to leave the 1st string open, so I can't bar all the way across and still get all the inside notes. So I'm going to hold down these 3 here with these fingers, bring my thumb up and around to grab the low F and leave the 1st string open. Then we're returning to a C over G, to a G, to an E, but with G sharp in the bass. That can be a tricky one to stretch out there, but just keep after it. Keep pulling the pinky over, eventually he'll get in there. And then finally we're going to go to an A minor, but we're going to jump up here to, if we count from the capo, that'd be the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to bar with my 1st finger on the top 3 strings. There's a nice little classical flourish line in the song that we hear there. It's kind of a signature guitar part in that tune. For now you can just think about that chord there. That's open A string, and then those top 3 strings barred. Okay, so when we put this all together in our verse, going back through, this is what the finger picking pattern will sound like. Now, you might have noticed there's quite a few chords and chord changes in this tune, and if you're just starting out in your guitar journey, this is something that is a good skill to continue working on, and we want to help you out with this. We can help you out with your chord changing skills. We have a free video lesson and ebook. If you click on the link in the description box below, click on that link, and what we're going to send to you is this free lesson that really just helps to get those chord changing skills up to the next level. We're going to teach you how to play in time, proper fret hand technique, all of those essentials that we really need in our everyday playing. So check that out. Click on the link down there. We'll send that to you. Once again, it's a free video lesson, free ebook, a lot of good stuff to keep working on that will help you out with this tune and many more. Let's take a look at the fingerstyle approach as we move through these chords. By and large, there's one specific pattern that you could almost use through all of these chords. So let's start with that, and we can get into some of the specifics that we find moving from chord to chord. Using my C chord as a jumping off point for discussing this pattern, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play the root of the chord, whether or not it's on string 5 or on string 6. I'm going to play the root of the chord and the 1st string together to start. And then I'm going to play the 2nd and 3rd string. So I'm kind of doing 1st, 2nd, 3rd string with a thumb pluck at the beginning. And then I'm returning to the high string. So that's like a 4-note pattern. And then I'm just going to play the thumb once again, and then string 2 and then string 3. So if I covered the strings and just did the finger picking pattern by itself, it would look like this. And I think this is great practice just so you can get the flow of the pattern into your fingers. And then you can add the chord back in and try it with a chord. Now you could just move that through all the chords if you wanted to, and it would sound just fine. Now here on the E minor, however, you'll want to jump up to the 6th string since that's where this chord starts. C over G is a 6th string root. Our D9 over F sharp, 6th string again. F major 7. C over G. G. Now here for the G, I would make a change and maybe just shift up the higher strings like that. So we can see it's the same pattern. I just moved everything up a string in this case. E over G, same thing. So that works really well. You can just use one pattern, one size fits all, and just move through the changes. If you want to do a couple of different things, you certainly can. I could go through the C chord with the initial pattern. Same thing on the F major 7 over C. Now for G over B, let's shift it up a little bit here. Let's start the pattern on the 2nd string and then jump up to the 1st string. So that open E string adds a little color to the G chord, adds a 6th, I guess you'd call it, into that chord. Now a nice change up on the E minor is now instead of playing that pattern, maybe play the 6th string, the 4th string, 3rd string, and then strings 2 and 1 together. And then the second time, add your pinky to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string to make it an E minor 7. So we have the first half of the E minor, and then you can add in that D note and play string 6, 4, and then 2 and 3 together. So that put together sounds like this. This gives it a nice flow into that next A minor chord. And for the A minor here, I started on string 2 and then went up to string 1 there. C over G. D9 over F sharp. F major 7. C over G. G. E over G sharp. And now the little signature lick. What we're going to do here is start by plucking the open A string and then just forward through the A minor chord. So this is thumb, index, middle, ring on the right hand. Just a straight arpeggio there. And now we're going to do a little bit of a scale run to close that out. 4 notes ascending and then 4 notes descending.